Dude. I love this. This is awesome. What are we going to say? I don't know. Just follow me. Dude, DPV's 7 years old.
That's crazy.
7 years on YouTube.
How many videos we have?
Like over 300. So here are all of our intros for the last 7 years. Enjoy.
A long time ago, two dudes had a dream. A dream to create the most epic movie about wheeling, stunts, and adventure this world had ever seen. Alright, just some future projects here. Got the BBW here. Big brown wagon. Alright guys, so this is the Big Chief. This time on Days of Pain and Victory, we're putting a gladiator grill on the Big Chief. On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, I'm moving to Boise. Alright, so I'm all moved in, past my Naplex, so that is awesome. Maybe you're wondering, why do I have this big old huge traffic cone? And with that, let's go work on the Jeep. Alright, on this episode of DPV, we're testing out the Aussie locker and the TJ. On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, hacking the fenders, building some shackles. Alright YouTube, so if you're wondering why there wasn't an update in October on the Big Chief, this is the reason why. Alright guys, I have found a lead on some Jeep parts that I've been needing. Reed Racing, flat top knuckle, Sky Off-Road, high steer arm. On this episode of DPV, we're going to tear into the BorgWarner 1339. On this super special bonus episode of DPV, we're going to Banff National Park. On this episode of DPV, we're going to give the Big Chief a proper introduction. Alright, today we're going to talk a little bit about expectations versus reality. This time on DPV, we're going to the Boise Roadster Show. On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, we're going to put all of this into this. On this episode of DPV, we're going to put the Advanced Adapter Slip Yoke Eliminator Kit in our MP231. On this episode of DPV, we're going to make the Big Chief a little more roadworthy. On this episode of DPV, Brian's TJ is getting a new pair of shoes. Alright, on this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, we're finally going wheeling. On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, we're going to go over my wheeling pack list. On this episode of DPV, we're going to install the Summit Racing electric fuel pump. This episode of DPV, moving all the crap back to Spokane. And I'm giving you a quick little update. On this episode of DPV, we're not doing a dang thing. On this episode of DPV, we're wheeling in the Boise National Forest. On this episode of DPV, we're going to talk about my grandpa's 1941 Chevy pickup, known as the Trap Wagon. In this episode of DPV, we're getting my 1969 Chevy Impala started for the first time in 7 years. On this episode of DPV,
we're working on my Barbie Jeep.
On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, cleaning the carb and doing some burnouts. On this episode of DPV, I'm trying out my Harbor Freight tire changer. I am super excited for this part of the project. I've been waiting to put these parts in for over a decade. What is Days of Pain and Victory all about? We're going to talk about that and how you can support it. On this episode of DPV, we're building rock sliders. On this episode of DPV, you're going to witness some vehicular violence. On this episode of DPV, we're wheeling at North Idaho Mud and Crawl
And trying to tackle the wheels of misfortune.
On this episode of DPV, we're putting disc brakes on the front of my 69 Impala. It's been a while since I posted, so I thought I'd give you a quick little update. On this episode of DPV,
we're going to
in this episode of DPV, we're starting a new series, DPV Bench Racing. Does this stuff work with a stick welder? Let's find out. On this episode of DPV, we're installing the new brake booster master cylinder in my 1969 Impala. If you can't build a shop, build a shed instead. In this episode of DPV Bench Racing, we're going to talk about 3 practical tips for working in your driveway. Is Facebook Marketplace the new Craigslist? Let's find out. What are the best entry-level wrenches? Out of the wrenches I own, these are my favorite. On this episode of DPV, this guy's turning 80. We're going to check out his shop and all of his fun toys. There's so many choices. I need your help. On this episode of DPV Bench Racing, I'm going to show you guys how to adjust the wheel bearings on a 1969 Impala. On this episode of DPV, we're racing golf carts. What? You ready for the 18 challenge? Check this out. On this episode of DPV, we're going to take these 2 steering columns and make one good column. How do you start up a carbureted engine? What's happening, guys? So, I've kind of noticed in my videos, my background really sucks. Alright guys, finally got a plan. Body damage. Is it classy or trashy? I gotta tell you about the worst stuck of my life. Let me tell you about my first 4-wheel drive. Alright, so when I left off on this Impala project with the disc brake swap, the only thing I had left was to hook up a couple brake lines and get the brakes bled, get the tires on and test it. So I won't bore you with the brake lines and stuff. I will show you the finished product and we'll go and test it out and see how these new brakes feel. This episode of DPV, we're installing line lock for better burnouts. Man, it's been a little while since I did this. Is this all I need? Hey, have a seat. Oh, okay. Why are you doing this whole YouTube thing? I just really like making videos. Well, what kind of videos? Yeah, my favorite kind of videos are like just the trips and events and random things that I'm doing. Well, you should just do that then. Okay, I will then. Good talk. Hey, I'm Josh. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. Today, we're going to tear down my AMC 360. On this episode of DPV, we're going to revive these Yamaha 4x4s.
Yes, we are.
On this episode of DPV, we're rescuing a 1977 Buick Electra. What is happening? My name is Josh. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. We've got a busy week this week. So we're going to get, every time the pork's got to come out. This is Bob.
These are Buick.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. Just got off work. Not sure if I told you guys this, but yeah, I got that sweet 7 on, 7 off schedule, which gives me a ton of time for the house projects and whatnot. But it's night shift, so my flip day is hard. What is happening? Just got off work and drove the 1-ton today because I gotta go get a load of gravel. Got a big time surprise for you. Check this out. Have you seen Bob lately? He's looking real nice. On this episode of DPV, we're installing the Summit 8600 series cam in my AMC 360. Hey, how'd you like that intro? Yeah, so I'm gonna try to do something for you guys. Try to have 2 different intros. What's going on? It's my flip day. These lovely girls made me breakfast and begged me to get out of bed. They're so sweet.
When they said they made me coffee, I was like, oh, maybe Allison made coffee and they warmed it up. Not quite. They filled this guy up with milk. Good morning. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and last night we spent our first night in the new place. And so right now I am headed to the storage unit to pick up my tools. This place is a freaking disaster. Oh.
Hey, Winter, what's up?
Dude, life has been so crazy.
I know.
Yeah, man, you should see my garage. It is a complete disaster. Like, it's pretty much like somebody put all my junk in a dump truck, went down 100 miles of washboard, and then dumped it out in my garage. It's a freaking disaster. The oil pan puncher was coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I just don't think we're gonna get her done in time.
I know, man. In order for that thing to make it 500 miles, it's gotta be at least somewhat reliable.
Yeah, she's got a lot of work left to do. We still got. Hell, we don't have all our tires are in the hole there yet. Seat belts. Need the water pump gasket.
Well, we gotta do something with Bob. I mean, I feel like we kind of let our subscribers down by, not doing anything with it. We put all this hype into Bob the Buick, and
No, you're right.
I mean, Bob is pretty cool. I mean, who hacks off the back of a Buick? I mean, I've never seen that done before.
Bob definitely is cool. We gotta do something with it. Maybe jump it or something. I don't know.
The thing is there's not really any more Gambler 500 events in our area this year. I mean, the next one's like in Oregon 2021. That's way too long to wait.
Dude, hear me out.
Yeah?
What if
Yeah?
we did our own Gambler?
Dude. The DPV Gambler 500? You're a freaking genius.
Yeah, like the DPV Gambler 500.
What is happening? Just got home from work. Today is this girl's first day of first grade. So anyway, I'm gonna get changed real quick because probably covered in MRSA and COVID. So I'll be right back. In this episode of DPV, doing some solo wrenching on Bob the Buick. What's up? I'm Josh. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. Today we are going to organize this garage the best we can in the next few days. Thank you.
It came! It finally came!
What's going on, guys? Just want to give you a quick follow-up to my initial unboxing and review of the WellPro MiG 155 GSB. On this episode of DPV, we're installing some trick flow valve springs to my AMC 360. What's happening? You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. My name's Josh, and today we're gonna do a little welding project with my new WellPro MiG 155. Welcome to DPV. Today we're working on Bob the Buick. Tomorrow we've got the DPV Gambler 500, which Alex and I are putting on. It's gonna be a good time, but we haven't even successfully gone around the block in this thing, and so we've got some work to do.
Help!
Dude, it's literally beating my... Oh! Hey, welcome to DPV. I'm back at Total Mayhem Racing Shop with Tyler and Ricky. And last time you saw this truck, we were, it was back in July, we were building some motor mounts, and a lot has happened since then. On this episode of DPV, we're building the fab table with my Weld Pro MiG 155. Welcome to DPV. We have got a lot going on in the next few days. Check it out. I was not expecting to make the video I'm making today, or in these circumstances. Oh hey, just editing YouTube videos at my scrap metal desk. On this episode of DPV, we're putting a new distributor in my 1998 GMC 1-ton. Hey, welcome to DPV. The world's getting pretty wild. I guess it's been wild for a while, but holy cow. Welcome to DPV. We are back at Total Mayhem Racing Shop, trying to get ready for the big race. The Big Chief is finally home. On this episode of DPV, we're going to do a 3-angle valve job on this Van Dorn valve machine. Today, we are going to put the heads and valve train on my AMC 360. Oh my gosh, this is heavy. Oh, that's much better.
So I need to switch the guts from this case to another case I have. This is my good case. So we're going to pull it apart, pull out the innards, and yeah, let's get going.
On this episode of DPV, we're installing this Edelbrock Torque 2 intake on my AMC 360. Alright, well, 2020 is all wrapped up. Thank goodness. On this episode of DPV, we're going snowshoeing. Oh yeah! Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we are working on the Big Chief. On this episode of DPV, we're gonna hook this to this using this. Welcome to DPV. Today, we're heading to school. You got your mask on already? Anyway, it's somebody's birthday tomorrow. So we got some treats for that, so I'm pretty excited. And Avery and I have a full day. I'm Josh, and today we're working on the Big Chief. It's time for you to officially meet Clyde. On this episode of DPV, we're making a custom H-pipe for Clyde. Welcome to DPV. Today, we're working on Clyde again. We gotta finish that dual exhaust, so got a bunch of bends here. Got this whole exhaust kit from Summit Racing. On this episode of DPV, we're rebuilding the front end on Clyde. This episode of DPV, we're wheeling in the Razor. Welcome to Days of Pain and Victory. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and it is brisk. I just got off work. It's about 15 degrees here in the inland northwest, and that just ain't gonna do. Gosh, I need to fix that. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh.
I'm Alex, and we're cruising the BBW.
Welcome to Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and today we've got kind of a random day, but it's full of lots of good stuff. Welcome to DPV. We have got an exciting day today. So today we are going to go do 0 to 60 tests in the Big Chief to see, what our baseline is. gosh, that's annoying. I just pulled the motor of my Jeep, and so now there's a gigantic hole under the hood. So it's the perfect opportunity to tidy up that wiring. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we are putting together my AMC 360. Again. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on my AMC 360 for the Big Chief. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and I've got Ainsley and Avery here with me today, and we're finally in episode 2 of the Barbie Jeep. On this episode of DPV, we're rebuilding this Edelbrock 1407 carburetor. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we have got an exciting episode. We're going to be putting the freshly built AMC 360 in the Big Chief. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on the Ghetto Glider, trying to get ready for the DPV Underpowered Tour. On this episode of DPV, we're putting 3-inch pipes on the Ghetto Glider. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh. Today, we got a little different episode. I'm heading down to my dad's place, gonna help him out, achieving one of his dreams. On this episode of DPV, we're putting all of this into the 72 Nova. On this episode of DPV, we're 18-volt swapping the Barbie Jeep. On this episode of DPV, we're installing the Summit Racing 3-gauge cluster in my 69 Impala. Oh, no. We don't hammer nails into the keyhole.
What's up, guys? This is Alex. This week on DPV, we're putting the Summit exhaust system on a 72 Nova.
On this episode of DPV, the big brown wagon is getting some big time exhaust. Welcome to DPV. We're on day 1 of the Underpower Tour. Got Chris following me back there. The kids are out already. It's a beautiful day.
Day 2 of the DPV Underpower Tour, and sad news on my front. The BBW now stands for Big Broke Wagon.
Welcome to DPV. We're here with Chris and his 1970 AMC Rebel. On the Underpowered Tour, we're gonna do a little walk around. Aren't we all?
This week on Days in Pain and Victory, I'm body swapping a 79 Ford Bronco. On this episode of DPV, we're 4-linking the rear of the Bronchosaurus.
Welcome to the new DPV garage. Welcome to DPV. Today is an interesting day. I don't normally film on my work week, but couldn't miss this. Doing something that I thought I would never do. But the thing that makes it more realistic is I'm not buying this thing. I'm more like acquiring this thing. And so I feel like when you acquire something, you can put some of your biases aside. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on the Big Chief. In this episode of DPV, we're checking out this Innova 3568 timing light. On this episode of DPV, building a new front shaft.
On this episode of DPV, I'm putting my IROX on some beadlocks. What up, guys? Got a quick 2-minute tip for you here. With my Battleborn wheels, I got these hubcaps, and I'm making magnetic bolt can catchers.
Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're putting a 14-bolt mini spool in the Big Chief.
On this episode of DPV, we're doing a little bit of race prep to the Total Mayhem trophy truck. On this episode of DPV, we're at Crash Mania in Walla Walla, Washington.
All right, welcome to DPV. Chris and I are working on Fordinand here, trying to figure out what our no fuel issue is. On this episode of DPV, I'm going to talk about my Baja 1000 race gear. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working in the shop, doing some shop upgrade stuff. Welcome to DPV. I'm at Total Mayhem Racing Shop, doing some trophy truck prep. Welcome to DPV. We're at the Baja 1000, getting ready to start. Got Tyler and Kyle in the truck. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're going to talk about high lift jack mount. Welcome to DPV. It's New Year's Day. We're at the hangover run with the Big Chief. This episode of DPV, we're checking out this large view auto darkening helmet from Eastwood. On this episode of DPV, I'm going to show you how to change a fan clutch. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're building a flatbed for Fordinand. And by building, I mean we're remodeling. That's not good. On this episode of DPV, we're putting a new chain in this Quadra-Track. On this episode of DPV, we're putting mud flaps on a Yukon.
Hey, what's up? You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. Today I'm going to get a new daily. My previous daily, the old purple minivan, has died, unfortunately. We lost reverse. What's up, guys? Alex here with DPV. A little update on the Bronchosaurus. Got some rear meats on it. It's not sitting at ride height in the back. There's no springs on it. But I have sold the front axle, so I need to get that pulled today.
Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today got my buddy Conrad in the shop, and we're working on his Ranger. Are you frustrated with the performance of your high lift jack? Does it not have as much lift as it did in its younger years? You might be suffering from high lift jack dysfunction, or HLJD. But don't worry. There's a solution. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and today we are working on Fordinand. So in the last time you saw Fordinand, we were narrowing up this flatbed so it would fit on a single rear wheel, and got it all fabbed up. Looks pretty good, I think. And today we're gonna build the rear bumper valance thing. What's going on? You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and today we're checking out this tool bag I picked up from Rhino USA. Welcome to DPV. We're pre-running the Underpower Tour. It's coming up here in what, like 6 weeks?
6 weeks, first weekend in June.
Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on Fordinand. We're gonna go ahead and get some taillights put in the back of this flatbed.
What's up, guys? Welcome to DPV. I'm Alex, and I'm gonna do a little playing around here on the rear of the Bronchosaurus.
This episode of DPV, we're putting a posi in gears in the Chevy 12-volt. On this episode of DPV, we're putting some torque lift camper tie downs on this 2022 Silverado. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on the Impala Ghetto Glider, trying to finish up this rear end.
Welcome to DPV. I'm Alex. Today I'm working on my 1977 Lincoln LTD wagon. Had a little bit of a death wobble. Raining so hard. It doesn't like pour out. You just gotta be real quick. You see this big rock hit this
Caddy, this thing is sweet. This thing is an absolute beast.
Can't believe that just happened.
We got the transmission on the jack. It's kind of sketchy at the moment. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on Edith the Behemoth. I'm gonna try out this armor shield from Avalon King. On this episode of DPV, we're going to review this Craftsman half-inch drive torque wrench.
Oh. Did it break?
So in car show, you never know what you're gonna see.
Oh man. I mean, is this the ideal situation? On this episode of DPV, we're changing out the starter on my boat. Welcome DPV. Got Alex here and we're working on the Demo Ranch Bronco. Welcome DPV, I'm Josh, and on this episode, we're gonna do a complete makeover on Clyde, my 1998 GMC K3500. Got ourselves in a little bit of a stuck here. This is not how I wanted the day to go for the Jeep, but it is what it is. What's going on, guys? You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and today we're gonna check out these lights by Knobsight. Welcome DPV, I'm Josh. Today we're working on the Bronco, trying to get the last minute preparations for our trip to Alaska. We've got 3 days to drive 2,400 miles from Spokane to Anchorage, Alaska via the Alcan Highway in a vehicle that's dang near 40 years old. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna be one wild adventure. What's going on? The Alaska trip was pretty dang awesome. Man, I had such a good time. Alex had a good time. It was dicey driving all that way, you know, on the snowpack, but gosh, it was fun. We had a little family vacation down to Florida, and so my father-in-law and I took advantage of the situation and visited Big Daddy Don Garlett's Drag Racing Museum. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh. Today, we're going on a road trip. Pick up something for the property. I'm pretty dang excited about it. Welcome to DPV. We're down in Sedona, Arizona, doing some wheeling. It's gonna be awesome.
On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, I'm updating the headlights on the tow rig.
This convertible bug has been sitting right here for 20 years. We're gonna try to get it going. Drive it 100 miles back up to my place in Spokane.
On this episode of DPV, we try to get another Super Beetle convertible going.
Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and on this episode, we're gonna try to get this 1936 Chevy. It's been sitting here, I don't know, 50 years? We're gonna try to get it running. You know, there's a trend right now of dudes thinking it's cool to just wear a plain colored t-shirt. But I like to use my t-shirts to let the world know what it is I'm into. I'm a car guy, and so that's why I've got a Vice Grip Garage shirt on, because I want people to know that I like cars and I like the way, you know, Vice Grip does things. So if you like the way we do things here at DPV, we've got t-shirts. What is going on? I'm Josh, and today I've got an exciting thing to show you guys. This is my new daily.
This is how you know it's good. We got the red, white, and blue on there. I can record just as easy.
On this episode of DPV, we're doing some race prep. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and today we got some exciting stuff happening. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and today I want to show you the newest Jeep to the fleet. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and today I got the girls with me. We're in the new Jeep and going on a little overland trip. Welcome to Days of Pain and Victory, I'm Josh, and today we're swapping out a head gasket on this 93 Jeep Cherokee. All right, we've got a 1959 Studebaker Lark. It's last licensed in 87. So what's that, 36 years? Sure. Off the road 36 years. We're gonna try to get it running and driving. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh. Today we're gonna tear into this 454.
Today's project is pulling the third member out. It's got to get sent off to Evan Weller Racing. They're gonna put some unicorn tears and gypsy sweat into it.
All right, we are about 15 miles outside of Walla Walla, Washington. And Ben here's dropping us off where the pavement ends. Check out our rides.
On this episode of DPV, we're lifting Mama's Highlander.
Stud Muffin runs, but will it drive? What's going on? Going on a little road trip here. Driving in the Jeep. Man, I have really been loving this thing. All right, well, the Stud Muffin runs and drives, but we gotta get this thing cleaned up. It's got decades of filth inside the cabin, and if it warms up above freezing today, we're gonna give this thing a bath. What's going on, guys? Today, we gotta do what I like to call the crap box shuffle.
So we have an engine. Hopefully going in a truck today.
What's going on? I'm Josh, you're watching Days of Pain and Victory. I just wanna do a quick video here on my 98 GMC K3500.
On this episode of DPV, we're going to be adding some pipes to Grandpa's truck.
Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and today we're working on my AMC Turbo 400 for the Big Chief. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and today we're going wheeling. Got my nephew Tegan here with us, and we're out kind of by Chewelah, Washington, and we're gonna go check out these trails. Well, today's the day we're putting the transmission in the Jeep, but first we gotta complete the rebuild. So, got, I don't know, half a can of this stuff. That's not good. We're working on the Polaris today, but the Jeep's in the way of the shop. Got a mess. I want to start a fire, so the Lark's a little bit close. Welcome to the DPV Podcast, Episode 1. What is going on? We're having a wheeling party in about 10 or 11 days. And so I want to go out and get some trail maintenance, some trail building done. Got one obstacle in particular that I want to do some work on. Unfortunately, it's like 5 degrees out. I've been dreaming of this since before I could drive. Having my very own off-road playground. And now it has finally happened. Got some of my Jeep buddies together. And we're having a wheeling party on the property. It's going to be awesome. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're checking out this Gobage? I don't know. It's an air compressor. One of the things we want to do with the Ranger is make it street legal. Welcome to the DPV Podcast.
Episode 2.
We've got an exciting episode for you today. At the wheeling party, Big Chief took a few hard hits, and in the process, kind of broke some suspension parts. Check it out.
On this episode of DPV, we're resurrecting my almost free 1977 Ford Ranchero.
Welcome to the DPV Podcast, Episode 3.
Yeah. All right, day 2 of the Ranchero resurrection, and yeah, I think we're gonna try to get her cleaned up a little bit. Maybe attack the electrical. Might try to pop out a dent, but yeah, let's see if we can get her cleaned up a little bit. On this week's episode of Days of Pain and Victory, I'm gonna try to drive the truck. Welcome to episode 4 of the DPV podcast. Today we're talking about DDs. That is, daily drivers. On this episode of DPV, we're checking out Derek's Shine Juice.
Welcome to another episode of Days of Pain and Victory. I'm finally back in the shop. Alex has been kind of carrying the team here at the old DPV YouTube channel. Back from all my vacations and stuff, so I can finally start wrenching on the rigs.
So, episode 5, Josh is a tool. Is that what we're calling this episode, I think? I don't know.
On this episode of DPV, we're reviving this 1976 Ford Camper Special.
Let's take a look at it.
Welcome to Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and today we're putting a new master cylinder in my tow rig. Welcome to DPV Podcast, Episode 6. Welcome to DPV. On this episode, we're taking my truck where I shouldn't. Yeah. Welcome to DPV, I'm Josh, and today we're working on this 1973 Ford 1000.
On this week's episode, we are going to be upgrading the airbox.
Welcome to the DPV Podcast.
Episode 7. Can you believe it, dude? We've done this 7 times now.
I know, we're rolling.
It's going quick. We're not running out of things to talk about. And this episode of DPV, we're installing a couple creature comforts in Mama's Highlander.
Well, this guy's finding a new home. Sven, you're no longer part of the family.
Yes! On this episode of Days of Pain and Victory, we're doing roof racks and light bars. Let's get after it.
Welcome to the DPV podcast.
Episode 8.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've already done 8 of these.
We're rolling.
We're killing it.
Yeah. And this time we've got an outline and I saved it.
Oh, I feel like this is almost professional, like maybe not professional status, but like it's not amateur hour at the Apollo anymore. Welcome to DPV. It is about 150 degrees inside the Total Mayhem shop. We are working on my wife's 2019 Highlander.
Well, that is awesome and questionable. Kind of turning into a fabricator here.
All right. Basically race car status there.
So this is episode 9.
Episode 9.
That is crazy. We are trucking along. It seems like every month we just like put another episode.
Yeah, we are a little behind. This is September's episode, and it is October 4th.
That's all right. We'll our editing and post-production guys will get right on this. And
All right, we're back on the Big Chief, working on the windshield frame. I've been welding and grinding for a couple hours now. We got a bunch of random stuff going on today and decided to film it because it's all related to DPV. And might just be a bonus video for you guys.
Welcome to the DPV podcast. This is episode 10. We're cruising.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
Wow.
That might have been structural. It'll be fine.
oh no!
We pulled this 1977 Ford Ranchero out of a farmer's field, and despite having the biggest rat's nest I've ever seen under the hood of a vehicle, we got it running, drove it home with just some basic hand tools. And when it came down to pick what vehicle we wanted to drive 950 miles down to SEMA, the Freechero had to be it.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Days of Pain and Victory. We're into SEMA. Dude, can you believe it?
I cannot believe it.
This is gonna be awesome. We're gonna bring you guys along, show you everything that we can see. We're not gonna see it all, but I don't think you can see it all in 4 days. So stay tuned for action-packed and wild ride. So we have no idea what we're in for, so welcome along.
All right, Josh with Days of Pain and Victory, and we've got Holly Fowler with Mischief Maker TV.
Yeah, hey guys.
Yeah, so we're gonna check out her Jeep Liberty that she built for the Onyx Off-Road Build Challenge. This is a rad ride. All right, Josh for Days of Pain and Victory. We're at the SEMA show, and I'm with Rick from Custom Effin' Customs.
I am not a welder, but I pretend to be.
You are now.
And I'm gonna put this in my Beat Hall of Fame because this is the prettiest thing I've ever welded.
All right, it's Thursday. We're at SEMA. Monday, we drove this 77 Ranchero, 950 miles from Washington State.
And it made it 937 of those fairly good. We had a few fuel filter issues, but right outside of Vegas, we developed a shimmy. Using our powers of deduction and troubleshooting, we're pretty sure it is wheel bearings. So at the SEMA show, we talked to some guys at the Napa booth. They thought it was a great story, and they wanted to support us. They sponsored us with some wheel bearings, and so now we got to tear this apart in the casino parking lot, throw some wheel bearings on, and we're gonna get after it.
So our 950 mile trip back, starting with some parking lot wrenching.
Welcome to the DPV podcast, automotive podcast where safety's third. I'm your host, Josh Hahn.
And I'm Alex Barkley, and today we have a really special guest with us. Yeah, no, he's right here.
Hey, we're working on the car hauler today because tomorrow I'm going to pick up a 55 Chevy. So we got to do some work to this. First thing, installing this Power Armor Max toolbox battery storage from Torque Lift. Welcome to DPV. We're back on the Big Chief project here, and it kind of escalated. I've got body parts on the ground, and it's looking further and further away from being ready for the Rubicon.
Action mode.
It's an action-packed podcast.
It is going to be an action-packed podcast. Speaking of action-packed podcast, episode 12.
Episode 12. We made it an entire year pumping out one episode a month.
We're going to Alaska! Woo!
Went to this little place in Glen Allen called Caribou. What was it called?
New earrings.
Yeah, Audrey got some new earrings. It's like Caribou Cafe. They give you these sweet little pins that say Glen Allen, Alaska. And they know how to make pizza. It's 6:30 in the morning. It's 48 degrees and rain. It died on me. So yeah, I think we got like 90 miles to the Canadian border, and then a whole bunch of miles to the next hotel.
Hey, we're back on the Big Chief, working on the cage. Bought a bunch of metal and been working for a few hours. Let me show you what I've come up with so far.
Dude, okay. Dude. Look at this. I didn't deep throat the mic for my practice. This is me growing as a human and as a podcaster. Look at that. Ooh.
I didn't take long, did it?
No.
I think I might have bought the worst square body Suburban on Marketplace.
There's a lot of silver in this. This is not good.
Got a little situation.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the DB podcast. Jeez. You want to start this?
Yeah. How about welcome to the DPV podcast.
Season 2.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
We are on location in Yuma, Arizona with the Oracle himself, Ben Barkley.
Oh, this is awesome.
On this episode of DPV, we got one-way tickets to Phoenix. Bought a car that we knew nothing about, with the intention of driving it 1,800 miles back home. Let's just say things didn't go quite according to plan.
All right, we just stuffed our bellies. Thanks, Jared. That was so good.
Anytime. Fajitas were delicious.
Oh man, we're gonna go watch the chaos at Chocolate Thunder. Just take it all in, see what it's all about. Hopefully, not get robbed or anything.
If you're anything like me, you've run out of space in your rig. This Yukon here with the third row up, there's like this much room.
All right, welcome back to the DPV podcast, episode 15.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so season 2, episode 3. We're cruising on our way to 21.
21. That's the goal.
Yeah. So I'm Josh,
I'm Alex.
and on this episode, we're going to talk about our experience at King of the Hammers.
Yeah, it's gonna work out good. All right, back on the Big Chief. Working on the rear bumper. Built myself a template, cardboard CAD, courtesy of Amazon Prime.
Welcome to this week's episode of DPV. It's a new car day here. I thought it was going to be my first Chevy, but it turns out it's not going to be my first Chevy. I did own a Chevy Celebrity for like 2.5 minutes.
All right, it's finally happening. We are building the doubler.
Welcome to the DPV podcast, season 2, episode 4. We're cranking out the episodes. It's awesome.
In this episode of DPV, I'm going to tell you all about the NP205 transfer case. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're starting part 2 of the doubler build. Welcome to Nation Pain of Victory. I'm Josh, and today I'm going to tell you about this NP203. On this episode of DPV, we're ripping the heart out of my Impala, but it's for a good cause. Going on a little road trip tomorrow, but I got to do some maintenance first.
Premium beef stew.
We don't have reverse. The ammonia smell, it's strong. All right, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. It's
7 years, 300 and out, 700 or 300 and so many videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's been fun. It was a blast to go through and kind of relive all that stuff, like seeing my long hair, seeing my kids grow up, seeing your kids grow up.
It seems like we've gotten better too.
I think we've gotten a little bit better.
A little bit better.
There's some that are pretty terrible,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of good ones. What is your favorite video that we've done so far? Leave it in the comments below. Man, it's been a blast. I hope we can do this till we're just old gray men.
Yeah, this would be fun.
I mean, kind of getting there.
Oh
but,
yeah.
I've
no plans on quitting. This has been a blast.
Yeah, this is fun.
So, yeah, maybe we'll do another in 7 years.
Yeah.
Another video of intros.
Yeah.
So there's a few good highlights in there too.
So,
all right.
we'll wreck it, rinse, and repeat.
Till next time.
See ya.